Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Muller here. How's everybody doing? Well, thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. We have 3 areas of concern outlined here in yellow. We have a little flare-up of a wave here east of Florida. It has a small window of opportunity to develop. We'll take a look at that. Invest 95L still holding on here in the Caribbean. Is that going to become a thing for Central and Latin America, or maybe eventually the Gulf? We'll take a look at that. But our biggest area of concern is associated with a tropical wave that's just came off the Cape Verde Islands. This could actually develop into something as we head throughout the next 7 days. And here in the Western Pacific, we are tracking Typhoon Doksuri, known as Egay here in the northern Philippines. Yes, you've been getting hit quite bad here in the northern Philippines, even though the eye is just off the coast here. How much more damage could be done here? And where is Doksuri headed? Is it heading north or northwest? And we might have another typhoon brewing, and this one heading towards the north as well. And this big old heat dome spreading to the east with this massive ridge, is that set to break down next week? Yeah. Cooler temperatures, but at what cost? Could we be bringing back Canadian smoke? We'll get into all the details. Don't forget to smash that like button, question, or comment down below. Keep our weather conversation going. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Hit that bell notification button so you're alerted when I come out with one of these videos. And don't forget, share with all your family and friends. It really does make a difference to get the word out. Let's get into it. So taking a look at the European model here, we'll take a look at all 3 of our areas right here in the center of the screen. Let's just there we go. So that looks a lot better. So yeah, we got these 3 areas. Invest 95L. We got our system here and off the southeast coast. And there's that area that's actually out here that's going to be progressing towards the west. Now look at this massive subtropical high just sitting out here east of Bermuda. So let's just put the European run here into motion. Yeah, the European's not blowing up this system much here near Florida. It's kind of pushing Invest 95L up a bit, and look at that, how impressive it actually looks here. Our main development region Atlantic system. So yeah, that's the system I'm really focused on. However, I do want to make mention Invest 95L here on the European model has been trending southward, and it has been trending towards Honduras and Nicaragua. In these nations that have a lot of mountainous terrain, that you get all of this moisture here, and I'll be going over rainfall amounts momentarily. You could get lots of flooding, mudslides, all sorts of bad stuff happening. Now here in Florida, it looks like that system's going to be heading over your peninsula here, the central to the southern portion around the 28th, 29th time frame here. But we're watching our system here east of the Leeward Islands here. Take a look at that system here. Here it is. So high pressure just steering it towards the west here. By this point, that southeast system is over here in the Gulf. Here's our system down here in Central America. So the European model's not really closing off any low with either of those systems. But look at as we head towards the 30th into the 31st. Yeah, this does start to develop here on the European, although this run is a bit further to the north and to the east. It's actually well east of Bermuda here. Let me just zoom out so you can see the North American continent. Now let's see what happens here. Yeah, the European model starts to do something that the GFS really doesn't readily, is retreat this high pressure to the northeast, and then this system gets caught up in the westerlies and is allowed to make a clean exit here. So yeah, this is something to keep an eye on. Keep in mind though, this is 190 hours out, 180, 190. So yeah, this could change, but definitely something we got to keep an eye on. And just to show you something out here towards August 1st, I know it's pretty far out here on the timeline, but look at this. We have a couple big waves here, one coming off the coast and one out here. So yeah, I think the season's going to start to ramp up a bit here. So taking a look at the GFS here, we're going to compare it here to the European model. So here's our system out here in the main development region. It looks pretty massive. So yeah, that's definitely our area. Here's Invest 95L, and there's our system off the coast of Florida. So let's see what the GFS does with all 3 of these systems. So we'll just put this into motion here over the next couple days to a week, and look at that. Yeah, our Florida system still doesn't look that impressive. However, yeah, there's going to be some heavy rains, don't get me wrong. But here our system here into Central and Latin America, the GFS does something curious. It sends energy here into the Eastern Pacific, and as we continue in time here, yeah, it could actually basically give way to a tropical system here into the eastern Pacific. That's pretty interesting. But here's our system here out in the main development region. So by this point, look at it. It looks very impressive. Strangely enough, the GFS really blowing this up, but keeping it more westward as opposed to more northeastward like the European model has. Now, one thing that's different here with the GFS, you notice the high pressure, it's tending to spread a little bit farther to the west here. So that's keeping our system on a more northwest or west-northwesterly here, passing it just north of the Caribbean islands. And this is actually getting pretty strong. This is closing off very nicely here on the GFS, and that's why, look at this. It turns it into a hurricane. So this is something we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on. Keep in mind, though, this is the GFS this far out. The margin of error is just intense and massive. And yeah, we're showing the GFS with a major hurricane off the southeast coast by August 5th. I caution you on this. I mean, it's possible, but at this point, as I showed you on the European model here, it essentially took the system up and recurved it. So the GFS is much further to the west and bringing this up off the North Carolina coastline. And there's our last frame, August 7th. This is so far out. I would not pay too much attention to this, but that is pretty interesting that we still have a major hurricane sitting off the U.S. East Coast. So taking a look at our dry air at mid-layers, including dust and all that sorts of good stuff. So here we go. We got the intertropical convergence zone of the main development region of the Atlantic really moistening up here. You can see the dust really pushing off to the northeast here. Look at even the Caribbean's moistening up in the southern Gulf as well. So let's see if this trend actually continues. As we go through that Friday into Saturday here, look at this. Yeah, we do start to have some of that Saharan dust start to entrain here. But there's our system that we're going to definitely keep an eye on as we continue out in time here. Yeah, things are definitely moistening up here. You can see it here. This was the GFS, by the way, and of course that continues to push towards the west and then eventually towards the southeast coast of the United States. We'll definitely keep an eye and to see if this high-pressure system stays further west on the GFS. Let's take a look at the European. So here's our European run. You can see pretty moist here into parts of the intertropical convergence zone. There's the dust heading towards the Lesser Antilles, Leeward Islands here. And look at this. As we continue in time here, you can see things really moistening up around our system out here in the Atlantic. So the Europeans even indicating that it doesn't seem to be a problem with any dry air initially, but there it is. As we head towards Sunday, this is where the GFS and the European model differ. Look what happens here on the European model. It gets caught between two areas of dry air, dust to the east and lots of dry air mid-levels to the west. So this is a bit interesting. We'll have to see which one of these models wins out. You can see the high pressure on the European model here is much further to the east and weaker than it is on the GFS. And as I said many times before, if this was a La Nina or neutral year, we would be exploding with storms. Look at these sea surface temperatures. Yeah, it's a little below average there, just slightly in the Caribbean. But look at even along the East Coast here. This is incredible sea surface temperature content. And the only thing keeping a lid on this is El Nino. And I do have some good news for Jamaica and the Cayman Islands with Invest 95L Thursday into Friday. Look at this, heading upwards of 45-50 millimeters of rainfall, locally higher. We do start to pile it on here across parts of Central America as well. So yeah, Cayman Islands, Jamaica, you're making out with probably some of the heavier rainfall you've seen so far in the last couple weeks. But look at this, Invest 95L kind of camps out here across Central and Latin America. Look at this. Honduras down to Nicaragua, 90 to as much as 110 millimeters of rainfall. Belize as well. If any of these mountainous areas get this could be problematic. And here we go for the Eastern Caribbean. So yeah, Invest 95L heading westward there. Additional rainfall. If this European model holds true, this next system will recurve. but still looking at anywhere from 60, 80 millimeters of rainfall here across the Lesser Antilles. Look at Hispaniola here in Puerto Rico picking up pretty much the same. But here's the GFS. Watch what this does. This does not recurve our main development region Atlantic system. And look at this. Yeah, if this one holds true with the GFS, we could be looking at tremendous rainfall over 100, 150 millimeters. And thanks to tropicaltidbits.com, look at this satellite photo of Doksuri here. Just really prominent eye. Yeah, it is filling in a little bit as it's going through an eye wall replacement cycle, category 4. Nevertheless, look what it is literally just sitting over the northern islands here of the Philippines. And here's our Typhoon Doksuri, known as Egay here in the Philippines. Yeah, the northern Philippines here. Look at this. Yeah, I know the eye is staying offshore, but look at the southern part of the eye wall there. It's brushing the northern Philippines here, so especially the northern Philippine-most island here. This system's going to continue chugging off towards the northwest here. I think the GFS is taking this up a little bit too far to the east, closer to Taiwan. I think this is going to continue trending a little bit further to the west as it has. So the GFS is kind of puzzling here. GFS does tend to keep this much stronger and further to the north, whereas the European model is weakening this closer to guidance, bringing it as a category 1. So let's take a look at the European model here. So here we are with our European run. You can see the northern Philippines. Here is our system here on the European. So let's just zoom out just a little bit here, and we'll see what the European guidance is showing. Much closer to our forecast guidance here, keeping all of the strongest part of it off of Taiwan. As you can see here, it looks like this is 8 a.m., 11 a.m. on Wednesday. It starts to really pull away from the Philippines. You'll still have some showers, and you'll have a southwest flow continuing here in the northern Philippines from Manila here on northward. So you're still going to continue to get moisture, lots of waves and wind. But thankfully, the worst of it will be pulling off to your northwest here. And as I said before, this is going to continue towards China here. Missing Taiwan, this is a godsend for Taiwan at this point. It's going to make landfall in China as probably a category 1 or maybe a category 2, but it's more likely category 1. And as you can see, this thing's going to become more of a freshwater flooding threat as this actually pulls inland well to the west of the major cities here along coastal China. Now look what's brewing out here behind this system. You can see, yeah, towards the 30th and the 31st, we have a full-fledged typhoon on our hands once again. Now this one's actually targeting the southern islands of Japan here. Take a look at this. Okinawa, these kind of areas here could be affected by this system as we continue to go in time. So yeah, the whole southern portion of these southern island chains here of Japan could really be getting quite a beating here as we head towards August 1st. Now, what does the European model do? It's very similar here to the GFS. It pushes it towards China. Now, the interesting thing about this system here is it's coming into a very populated section of China, especially just south of Shanghai here. Now, if it was coming in a little bit further north, which it could, we have to keep an eye on this because it could actually go further north. But at this point, it looks like it's going to come in just south of Shanghai. But as I said before, a lot can change with this system, so definitely stay tuned. But yeah, this would be, if this ends up being just a little bit further to the north, this would be a tremendous typhoon here for Shanghai. So definitely something to keep an eye on here. And then we have another system behind that looks like it's trying to form into something south of Japan. So thanks to Tropical Tidbits here for our rainfall map. Yeah, this is the European run showing how much rainfall additionally could fall. So we'll just take it through, here we go, through Saturday here. Early Sunday. Look at this. This is a lot of rain. This is on the order of 350, 400 millimeters of rain, continuing here on the northern part of the northernmost Philippine island here and stretching even on the southern eastern portion of Taiwan here, just east of the mountains, heading up into the mountains, and then towards China as well. Now, let's take a look at our next tropical system here as we continue to go out in time. There's our next system, which could add insult to injury here. If it does go with a track just like this, it could actually bring more rainfall to parts of interior China and the southern portion of the Japanese islands as well, Okinawa. Oh, so here's our HRRR future radar model here. We don't have too much to talk about as we go overnight into Wednesday morning here. Look at this. So yeah, we got a big old mesoscale convective system that's going to be moving along Lake Michigan here. This is about 1 p.m. here on your Wednesday. So yeah, let's take a look and see what happens with this system. Michigan is definitely going to be a problem spot on your Wednesday as we head towards the afternoon and eventually the evening hours as well. There could be some, it looks like a bow echo here of a mesoscale convective system here. Yeah, that looks pretty intense here. And as we continue to head that towards the east, that heads into southern Ontario, although I cannot rule out a few stray strong thunderstorms here towards Cleveland. Although it looks like most of the energy is up towards Detroit, London, and Toronto. Now, is this going to get into northwestern Pennsylvania? We'll have to wait and see here. Let's take a look into South Florida. There is our tropical system, if you want to call it that, heading westward here. So we're going to get some gully washers here into South Florida. And watch this. Let's just unfold this here as we head into the Ohio Valley and Northeast. So Erie, Pennsylvania, Buffalo, Dunkirk, yeah, by 10 p.m., on Wednesday evening. Yeah, it could be a very stormy night for you as we head into western New York, as we head into the overnight hours into early Thursday morning. Take a look at that. Yeah, northern New York, St. Lawrence Valley, northern Finger Lakes, eastern Lake Ontario region, and we could have some stray scattered strong storms here into parts of northwestern and central Pennsylvania as well, those spreading east towards the Poconos and the Catskills. And you see most of the energy, though, heads up towards the St. Lawrence and into northern New England. As we pan out here, you can see most of the moisture at this point staying offshore here of Florida, really just kind of sitting there off the coast and keeping most of its moisture offshore here until about 2 p.m. on Thursday. Look what starts to happen. You start to have more of an onshore flow, and you can see the system heading towards land here, so it could start to push some tropical moisture in. Now, what is this here? As we head into Thursday, look at this. The Capital District of New York up to Concord and into Maine. We could have some stronger cells here with this frontal boundary. I have plenty more weather momentarily. Don't go anywhere, but here's a quick word from my affiliate. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. And viewers send in photos and videos. John here from Kelverton Water Park, New York. Look at this. A nice, beautiful day here on July 25th. Take a look at that. That looks really inviting. Looks like a beautiful day to get out there and enjoying some nice shade as well. Look at that. Can't beat that this time of year, getting out there and enjoying it. Nice captures there, John. And Joe Drehos here from the Johnson City, New York area, southern tier of New York. Look at this. Yeah, this is a thunderstorm. Just wait for it here. Lightning across the area. Look at that. Cloud-to-ground lightning was prevalent. There was over 7,000 lightning strikes here across the southern tier of upstate New York during the July 24th. Look at that. Nice capture there, Joe. So here's our European run here. Let's take a look as we head throughout your Wednesday. Look at this. High pressure building into the east. The only problem up here, as I showed you on the mesoscale model, that system drops towards the south on late Wednesday night into Thursday. So yeah, parts of northern Ohio, western New York, western Pennsylvania, you might be under the gun of this mesoscale convective system. As this spreads east early Thursday morning, some showers and thunderstorms here across the Ohio Valley into parts of the Northeast. But by this point, it will be weakening a bit as it heads into northern New England. Now, look at this. we're going to start setting ourselves up for an interesting pattern here, because there that big old heat dome spreads to the east here. It's actually pushing heat up into the Ohio Valley and up parts of the Northeast. And later on in the video here, I'm going to show you what those temperatures are going to be like. But take a look at this. Yeah, this is some big old strong thunderstorms. This is essentially the ring of fire we talk about here in the summertime. And it is going to be massive here as we head into early Saturday morning. Look at those strong thunderstorms diving across northern Ohio, parts of Indiana, and the Northeast here, western New York, western Pennsylvania. And those dot the areas as we head throughout the day on Saturday. Look at this. This could be a very stormy day across parts of the Ohio Valley and to parts of the Northeast, where we could see strong to severe thunderstorms with those very high heat content. So, yeah, very unstable air mass. Watch what happens, though, as we head into Sunday. The bottom essentially falls out. You get that telltale trough here developing here across parts of the eastern lakes and the Northeast. And look at that. Yeah, we are setting ourselves up for... We're going to have to keep an eye on this. The smoke models don't go out this far, but I'm definitely concerned about smoke in training into parts of the Great Lakes, into parts of the Northeast here. As we continue to go into next week, you can see, yeah, along this northern edge here of this unstable air. Look at Ohio by next Wednesday. Yeah, that's some big-time thunderstorms there. But north of this unstable area, you could get smoke plumes that come down from Canada. Definitely something to keep an eye on. And we're just going to continue to get these systems that ride here from the lakes and Northeast and propagate downward southeast. So definitely a very active pattern as we head into next week. So liquid equivalent precipitation here, look at this. Yeah, as we head throughout the weekend, the rest of your weekend to the weekend here, this is where, yeah, it seems like the Midwest, Florida, and parts of northern New England and northern New York is the big winners here. Look at this, anywhere from about an inch all the way up to 2.5 inches here. South Florida definitely getting on that scale as well. And as we head into next week, there the Ohio Valley's getting in on the act there. Look at that. Yeah, we're opening up about the possibility of 1 inch to 2 inches of rain pretty easily across parts of the Ohio Valley. And just adding it on here, this is actually very good news here into Canada. Look at all this rain. This might actually help the smoke situation as we get more of a northerly flow next week. And as we get into the Northeast here, we're just zooming in. So there it is, what's left over Tuesday night into early Wednesday. There it is across the Northeast, another quarter, half an inch. But there it is, Friday into, here we go, Saturday. Yeah, things are getting pretty active here as we head into the weekend, into Monday. So here it is, through the weekend into early Monday, late Monday here. Yeah, we're not going to see too much in the way of rain, but we'll see some quick thunder showers and thunderstorms. Some that could be strong to severe move across the region. The big rain, however, is going to be up here into southern Ontario and the St. Lawrence Valley into northern New England. So this heat dome heading on into Wednesday, look at this. This is tremendous. We have hundreds all the way up the Dakotas. You don't see that very often. 90s spreading into the Northeast here. It is going to be mega hot here. As we head into Thursday, those 90s just keep spreading east. Look at these hundreds. This is bad news here. It's going to be hard to keep cool. Hundreds continuing here in Texas. Look at that out west. That's a big old mess of 110s, 120s. South or Florida here staying a little tiny bit cooler here with some of that tropical moisture, not by much though. And look at this as we head towards Friday. Look at this, mid-90s, 96 in Pittsburgh, 90 in Cleveland, 91 in Rochester, 95 in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, 94 in Albany, mid-90s stretching up the I-95 corridor. Look at this, mid to upper 90s here across parts of the Carolinas as well. As we head into Saturday, the good news is here, look at this. We start to cool it down from the north here, but there's going to be a battleground. Severe weather is likely across parts of the Ohio Valley into the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. And look at this, Sunday, we get that northerly flow kicking in here. We're pushing 70s from Cleveland all the way up into northern New England. That is some great news. Hopefully it doesn't bring down the smoke with it, though. And then we head into Monday. We are looking at a much cooler pattern across parts of the Northeast and Midwest here. But the heat is continuing here across the central, southern plains, and the southeast. Extended outlook from hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna River Valley, New York and Pennsylvania. Look at this, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The heat is on. Look at this, Friday, 97. That's dangerous. But there will be some showers and thunderstorms, particularly Thursday afternoon between like 2 and 10 p.m. Chance of some scattered strong thunderstorms. And then Friday, a isolated chance of thunderstorms, mainly between like 3 and 8 p.m. Saturday, a better chance of showers and thunderstorms as that front pushes through, damaging wind, large hail. A big prospect here, maybe an isolated tornado. But look at that Sunday, sunny and 79 degrees behind the front. As always, thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Don't forget to visit my link down below for my Hurricane 2023 Outlook. If you haven't visited that, I go over the entire tropical season, what I think is going to happen. Also, don't forget my Trilogy Maps link affiliate down below. Use the code MeteoMark to get 20% off your order. I do make a little bit of commission off that, so just to disclose that. So there it is, and the link's down below. At Facebook, MeteoMark, you can visit me, also Weather Northeastern, also Hurricane Northeastern. It's also MeteoMark.com, Twitter @WeatherEastern. Thanks for joining me for this edition